Every time the economy is going down or is uncertain, I hear all the same things from business owners. People aren't buying, people aren't spending money, the economy's so terrible, the market's slow, people don't have any money. It's like, well, maybe that possible, but probably unlikely. But let me ask you a question. If I were to come into your business tomorrow or I bought your business tomorrow, what would I actually find? Would there be an economic problem or would there be an execution problem? Meaning, are you leaking revenue just every day and are completely unaware of it? You don't even realize you're just burning money or not maximizing the money you could be making. It's probably more of that than the economy. And what I've learned is the economy can absolutely affect your growth, but it doesn't affect it the way people think. What I find is the economy can make it easier for a less skilled founder or owner to grow their business because growth is easier. A rising tide raises all ships. Well, if you were in that situation, great, you were making money. Well, now you're not. So that means you need to make some changes. Ergo, figure out where you're leaking your revenue. It also gives it also gives founders something that can be very dangerous. As I just mentioned, it gives them an easy excuse to why the business isn't doing well, why we're not making money. Oh, the economy's bad. I get that. I do. And 100%, it definitely can hurt, but it's ultimately an excuse, period. A ton of businesses are making more money than ever in the current economy. Why is that? Oh, it's what they sell. Maybe you should sell that. But if you don't, no problem. Let's try to fix what you got. So before we blame the economy, let's look at three big things. Number one, speed. This kills more businesses than I care to even think about, and is normally the first thing that I want to ask about as soon as they hire man sales to do an audit of their company and their system, their process, and how they make money. Speed is normally the number one issue. So it's not how many leads do you have, it's how fast do you respond to those leads? How fast do you guys make decisions? How fast do you get out a proposal? How fast is the customer timeline? How fast is your deal velocity? These are all critical questions that some founders instantly know the answer to. Some founders have no idea. If you have no idea what I just said, stop blaming the economy. Think of it like, what is your prospect waiting on? If I want to buy from you, I have to fill out these forms. If I send them in, do I instantly get something back or an approval or a notification of, hey, we're reviewing it, or hey, we got it, or hey, the product's on its way? Is that happening? Because that's really important, because customer experience is everything. And as the economy is going down, people may be more sensitive with their money. So if they don't have a good experience, why would I buy from you? You might be literally losing deals because before your salesperson even knows the lead exists, you're not having a system to contact them immediately and to make sure they're interested, they're viable, they're qualified, and hand them off. If you don't have a system for that, who does it? So I've seen companies that have spent thousands of dollars on Google Ads. And after I did their audit, my first question was, great, you have all these leads. How do you get them to the salespeople? Or how do you call, like, what's the next step? You got a bunch of leads. Where do they go? You'd be amazed. They're just like, I don't know. You're too slow. That's the first one. Your speed is terrible. If you don't have a system, speed's going to be terrible because now it's someone making cognitive decisions. Where does this lead go? Where do I send this? Who needs to talk to this person? Automate it. Second, founder bottlenecks. That's number two. And that's normally what I see when the mid-sized companies call me and they want to have their system reviewed or audited. Founder bottlenecks become just crazy, like some of the decisions that the founder has to stamp and approve. If you're in that situation, you're slow. Remember, Guaranteed slow because the founder now has to do it. And number two, you create the closed thinking loop of everything has to go through the founder. And that is not only slow, but promotes no new ideas and increases stress with every decision because every decision becomes a founder decision. Terrible. The economy did not create that. Is not the economy has no influence over that. And if that's where you're at, stop blaming the economy because you created the bottleneck yourself by making sure everything flows through you. And a good example of this is if your sales manager has an issue, like they want to give a discount or they want to move up terms or they want to change something that's very minor, like something that's not a big deal and they already know you're going to approve it, but they have to send it to you for your stamp and you're out of town, you're sick, your wife's having a baby, whatever, and it takes an extra day. That's an extra day that your competitor could have sent that right over and you lost the deal. Your salesperson didn't lose that deal. You didn't lose that deal. The process lost the deal for you. So now you're slow and you have a founder's bottleneck. Terrible. Stop blaming the economy. Alas, and this is just something that I've seen, like, it's like prevalent in the world, particularly in the business world. Follow up is slow to non-existent, meaning you get a lead in, you don't have a good system, you send it to whoever, they call them, maybe text them or email them. And then they're basically, if they don't like instantly answer or get back, then it just goes into a pile of all these leads we'll eventually get to. That is not only slow, but makes no sense and wastes money. And many companies commit this like atrocity, and that is a non-scheduled follow-up. Or if it's a lead, you need to be contacting these people with a framework as much as possible to get them on the phone so you can maximize the leads you're given. Period. How many web leads does it take to make a sale? Well, it doesn't matter if you only call them one time. You need to call them 5 times, 10 times, 20 times. Call them until they answer. And people are like, oh, you're going to pester people. And it's like, if they filled out my lead form and I paid $50, $100, $500, $1,000 for a lead, I'm going to call them until they answer the phone because I just spent that money and I'm going to try to make that appointment. And I have a system to do that. If you don't have that, there's so many companies they call one time or they send them a form and they never fill it out. And it's like, oh, it's a dead lead. Well, thanks for nothing. That's not the economy. That is your system failed. How many estimates do you get? How many leads do you get? How many opportunities do you actually get? And are you maximizing that with following up with people? When I say follow up, as soon as that lead comes in, whether it's a phone lead, an internet lead, a mailer, however you get them, are you following up with them all the time? Are you staying in contact with them until they're moving in the process? Period. It's not the economy's fault. If you don't have that, it's your fault. Don't blame the economy. Oh, they don't answer the phone. Call them again. Triple dial them. Crazy. Triple dial them a couple times a day. You'll be amazed. People answer. I believe that. I've done that. So when their business slows down, my first question always is, let's look at your revenue and let's look at your system. It should never be like, I've never said this. How's the economy treating you? That has never, ever came up in any of the meetings I've had about the economy. Like no one has ever said it's a bad economy. I just was at a CEO roundtable here in Tampa and not one of the 30 people were like, well, the economy is killing us. Nobody says that. Don't say that. It doesn't make sense. Ask the questions. How fast do we respond? Is the founder slowing down our business? What happens with every lead that comes in? Do we have a good process? Are we fast? Do we have a bottleneck? Are we handling people that have mid-tier interest? Because 3% of people are going to be ready to buy and everybody focuses on them. Focus on the 10% after them that are interested. They might buy. They probably are going to buy, but they might be gathering information or they're gathering quotes or They're not quite there, but they're close. Systems fix that, not the economy. So in closing, every business owner wants to have like control of the economy and be like, we're in a great economy. Of course you do. I do. More people spend more money in a great economy. Sure. But that doesn't affect my business. Like, we haven't had a bad year because of a bad economy. And it's because we focus on the systems. And the businesses we've helped, they've had their best years regardless of what economy is happening. So you, as a business owner, can control your systems. You can control your processes. You can hire and fire people accordingly. You have a lot more control over how your business is doing than just blaming the economy 99% of the time. Those three issues will have a bigger impact on your business than most economic factors, in my experience. Now, with that being said, I'd love to know what's the revenue slows down in your business, and what's the first thing you do when the economy is down? Do you look at the market, or do you focus on your own operations and processes? Comment below. I'd love to hear from you.